The Athletic.
Hello and welcome to the Race F1 briefing on Sunday the 24th of November 2024. I'm Rob Hansford and yes, it's time to recap Sunday's Grand Prix on the streets of Las Vegas. Unusually for a track like Vegas, we didn't get any major crashes or safety cars, but there was still plenty going on and one big result for George Russell. So let's get started. We have crowned our 2024 World Champion, everyone. Yes, Max Verstappen clinched his fourth F1 driver's title on the streets of Vegas on Sunday. Coming into the Las Vegas Grand Prix weekend, Max Verstappen knew that winning the 2024 F1 World Championship was firmly within his grasp. All he had to do was beat the McLaren of Lando Norris. Victory was out of the question for Verstappen in Sunday's race, with both the Mercedes and Ferraris having superior pace. But Verstappen had a much faster car than his rival Norris, crossing the line in fifth, 26.8 seconds ahead of the McLaren, which finished sixth. The result means Verstappen has 403 points, 63 points more than Norris, allowing him to collect his fourth title in as many years, with 2 Grand Prix remaining. For a long time in the second half of this season, there were serious question marks regarding whether Verstappen would be able to hold off the challenge from Norris this year. And Verstappen was in a reflective mood when he got out of the car. It's been a long season. We start off amazing and we were cruising, but then we had a tough run as a team, Verstappen said. But we kept it together, we kept working on improvements, and I couldn't be more proud of everyone, what they have done for me. To stand here as a 4-time world champion is something I never thought was possible. At the moment, I'm feeling very relieved, but also very proud. Verstappen added that although he got more enjoyment from last year's totally dominant season, he still learnt a lot from this year's championship. It was a very challenging season. Also, as a person at times, it was very challenging, and I had to be calm, he said. In a way, I still prefer last season. I enjoyed it a lot, but I think this season it has taught me a lot of lessons. I am very proud of us as a team, and in a way that makes it a very special and beautiful season. And while Norris was clearly disappointed that the championship has now been decided, he was quick to praise his title rival. Massive congrats to him, he's deserved it, said Norris. He's not put a foot wrong really, the whole year. So that's a strength of his, is he has no bad, he has no downsides, he has no negatives. When he's had the quickest car, he dominated races. When he's not had the quickest car, he's still been just behind us and almost winning the races anyway. He's just not had a bad side to him. He's not had any bad races the whole year. The worst was like a 5th or something. So he's just drove as Max has always driven, which is perfectly, and can't fault him anywhere. Well, what can you say about Mercedes' performance in Las Vegas? It's been utterly dominant all weekend long, topping every on-track session, and the race was no different. Pole sitter George Russell got away from the start well, and after a short fight with Charles Leclerc for the lead in the early stages, he soon pulled away, and from that point onwards, there was no looking back. It appeared the colder temperatures in Vegas played into the hands of Mercedes, as Russell disappeared off into the distance. At one point his lead was well over 10 seconds, although that was reduced by his teammate Lewis Hamilton, who came charging through the field from 10th on the grid. Hamilton ended up crossing the line 7.3 seconds behind Russell in second place, in what was Mercedes' first 1-2 of the season. And speaking after the race, Russell was still confused as to why his Mercedes was so fast. It's been a dream of a weekend. I don't know how we've been so quick, but I'm just riding this wave right now, he said. Russell felt that his performance was too good to be true though, and admitted he was waiting for an incident to ruin his day. He said, "I was just waiting for something to happen. For 2 races I've been on pole before, it's always been chaos, rain, dry, always something happening. Last race in Brazil with the red flag, there is always something happening. I was feeling confident and I had a good gap, but I was just waiting for something to happen and it didn't. So I guess luck has turned and I'm so happy right now." And while Hamilton was pleased to finish second, he was left wondering what might have been had he performed better in qualifying on Saturday, saying, "If I'd done my job yesterday, it would have been a breeze today." It remains to be seen whether this is truly a one-off, but if it can find a way to keep this pace going, we could well be in for a very entertaining final couple of races.
The Race F1 Briefing.
Although it ultimately had no answer for Mercedes on Sunday, Ferrari will be heading to Qatar feeling like it came away with something of a win in Vegas. Sainz and Leclerc finished 3rd and 4th respectively in Sunday's Grand Prix, and while they finished over 10 seconds behind the winner, more importantly, they were both ahead of the McLarens of Norris and Oscar Piastri. Ferrari needed a decent result to close in on McLaren in the Constructors' Championship, and with Norris and Piastri finishing 6th and 7th, it managed to reduce McLaren's advantage to a mere 24 points. It doesn't mean it was a plain sailing race for the Ferrari pair though. They got caught up in a bit of a team order incident after the second round of stops. Leclerc had expected to come out in front and had been told by the team that Sainz would not battle with him, but Sainz made an overtake shortly after Leclerc left the pits and disappeared off in pursuit of Max Verstappen. Leclerc was incensed on the radio after the race, although when speaking to the media, he didn't show any signs that it was affecting him, instead stating that tyre graining was the main issue holding him back in the race. And while he was glad to see that McLaren didn't have the pace in Vegas, he's not expecting the same situation next weekend. I think McLaren's going to be very strong in Qatar, so we've got to have a good weekend, and I'll be very surprised if we recover points from them, he said. But we've got to, but I expect it to be tricky. The battle for 6th from the Constructors is getting even tighter with just a few races remaining, and with over $20 million at stake, Haas, Alpine and RB are giving it everything they've got to come out on top. And Sunday's race result has teed the battle up perfectly heading into the final 2 weekends. Alpine appeared to have the advantage on paper before the start of the race, with Pierre Gasly starting from 3rd on the grid. But his race soon turned into a disaster after he retired with a power unit failure. His teammate Esteban Ocon didn't fare much better either, especially after he and the team messed up in the first pit stop, with Ocon stopping in the wrong place and being forced to drive around for another lap before he could pit again to change tyres, while the team weren't ready for him in the first place. That meant he finished the race a lowly 17th out of 18 finishes, a big fall from grace compared to the team's double podium in Brazil last time out. However, Haas had a better time, even though we didn't see much of their cars in the race apart from a great battle between Kevin Magnussen and Liam Lawson in the opening couple of laps. But while the cameras were focusing elsewhere, Nico Hülkenberg executed a strong race to finish 8th, having passed the RB of Yuki Tsunoda late on, picking up 4 points for Haas. Although Tsunoda was overtaken late on, he did pick up a couple of points for ending the race in 9th, and he also finished ahead of Red Bull's Sergio Perez. However, Tsunoda's teammate Lawson had a tougher time winding up 16th. Those results mean that with Alpine remaining on 49 points, Haas has leapfrogged it into 6th with 50 points. RB remains 8th, but it's no longer far behind with its total tally of 46, meaning it's just 4 points away from 6th with 2 races to go. All focus might be on the guys at the front in Qatar and Abu Dhabi, but this really is a battle you need to keep an eye on. And with the drivers involved in that battle, it would be no surprise to see some very spicy action in the next few weeks. We've now covered all of the main talking points from a busy Las Vegas Grand Prix. The driver's title might have been decided under the lights of Vegas, but there's still so much more to play for in the final 2 races, and we can't wait to do it all again in just 7 days' time when F1 heads to Qatar. In the meantime, you can keep up with all of the latest news and stories by heading to the-race.com. I'll be back for my final appearance of the season next weekend, and I look forward to catching you all up on the latest news and headlines then. But for now, goodbye.
The Athletic.
As you've probably heard by now, we've teamed up with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for our listeners each week. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code THEATHLETIC, and you'll get a 1-year subscription to The Athletic, plus up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code THEATHLETIC. Make your first deposit of at least $10, place your first bet on any game, and claim your voucher for a 1-year subscription to The Athletic. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help in Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code The Athletic, and you'll get a 1-year subscription to The Athletic, plus up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager.